So walk on by is where we're at right now. It's great to catch up with you. Thank you for taking a minute out. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Thanks for
So I
having me.
know I know we kind of covered the pandemic at that point. I mean, I know we did because it was a big deal, but now that we're officially out, we all need music so much these days with all of the craziness. It almost
Mhm.
seems like it's crazier now than it was during the pandemic in a different way, right?
Right. There's a lot going on, that's for
Just like
sure.
at least with that, it was like it was one hornet that was coming after you and you just
Right,
didn't want to get stung. Now
right.
it's like a kid took a ball bat to a wasp's nest and we're all
Hmm.
scattering.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know who that kid is. So
Yeah.
so let's before we get into it, how ultimately now that the dust has settled, so to speak, and we're out of the pandemic, how did you ultimately process getting through that as a musician, and how has that influenced either this album or what you're doing in recordings and live music in 2025?
So yeah, I mean it's been actually more rough like now it seems in terms of like booking shows and stuff, like it's been way harder than it's ever been,
Yeah.
to be frank.
Yeah.
But in terms of like finding music that I want to do, I've learned that I want to collaborate more, and that like it's more fun to work with people and collaborate because it's for me, I love arranging music and I love making music my own and writing music, but it's hard for me to get my ideas out a lot of the time. And when I have another person's perspective and we work well together, then it really like brings the music to life. And that's exactly what I did with this album. Was me and my bass player collaborated on it. So
So ultimately, at the end of the day, the world of jazz just covers so many different things. I mean, you got Cole Porter, you got all of these names, but what was it about Burt? What was it about the exact songs you picked? What was the artistic vision and kind of the blueprint for what you did on this album?
so my mom has been pestering me for a long time to do Burt Bacharach because I grew up listening to this music.
Hmm.
Um, she would always play it, and then actually, like we were driving, we were on tour. Me, my bass player, and my pianist. We were just doing a trio tour, and we were driving from Tecumseh, Michigan, to Akron, Ohio, and me and James, the bass player, were like, let's put some Burt Bacharach on. And then Fima, the pianist, is like, who's that? So like he didn't know like the name of the composer, but he knew like a lot of the songs.
Yeah.
And that's what's like kind of cool about Burt is like, people don't realize how many great songs he wrote and like how many of these songs are still so relevant to today, like What the World Needs Now, for instance, that's very relevant. Um, and yeah, the songs that I picked, a lot of every time I pick songs, it just like goes with my experience in life, really. But like two of them, for instance, Loving is a Way of Living, right? That one I found in a book that I have, and there's really no other recording of it, and it just reminded me of like, you know, innocence and like maybe singing like a lullaby to someone, which you don't hear that often anymore. Is
Yeah.
like that type of song. And then what was the other one that I was thinking of? Oh, like that's what friends are for, right? That like these past few years I've like really like learned how important it is to have people in your life that will motivate you and um just be there for you. And
Yeah.
that song was only there's only one recording of that song too, with Stevie Wonder and Dionne Warwick.
Yeah.
So, you know,
But it's amazing how these songs are almost timeless. You can
right.
reimagine them in any decade because they've been around for so long, and they
Mhm.
always kind of retain that freshness. Because no matter what spin you put on it, there's a backbone that goes to all of these
Right.
songs. There's a
Mhm.
there's a general structure that gets manipulated, so to speak, in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, so let me ask you this. We kind of touched on this a little bit. We are living through very strange times. We talked during the pandemic, and now we're talking now, and since January, especially with things and the anxiety in this country. Do you ever consciously think about music you're putting out there that's going to come and take people to another place during this time? Is that a part of your artistic kind of impetus, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, like it's healing for myself too,
Yeah.
It's like, like this music, the cool thing, since we've like started performing these songs, the best part about it is when people are singing along, because you feel like you're like stuck in a different place for a moment, where you can just like enjoy music and be together and not think of the outside world, not be on your phone looking at the news and seeing everything go on fire. It's
Yes.
it's nice. It's nice to like just take the time to like absorb the music and be there together. That's what I think is great about his music is there's so many songs that people know of
Yeah.
him, and it makes it more fun to perform this music too because people are singing along.
The interesting thing about being in the position that I'm in from a journalistic standpoint is that when you start doing this interview tour, you've already thought about the album, you've recorded it, you mastered it, and now you're at a point where you have to revisit it. And it's like it's already kind of way back in the rearview mirror. Do you
Mhm.
find it to be kind of nostalgic to revisit this project that you were so close to? And you're probably moving on to the next project by now. So, what does that mean for you to go on this kind of press tour? To revisit this material? Is there a nostalgia that goes into this particular one? Does it feel different?
I think, I'm still, so I haven't been able to perform it as much yet.
Yeah.
So, but now that we're like, now we're getting in the groove of doing it a little bit more. And every time I sing it, like I feel like I find like a different song that I like the most,
Yeah.
like it's always changing. I guess it's because of everything too, like you said, like what's going on in the world, like, it's really like what the world I think what the world needs now right now is like really like prominent for me.
Yeah.
And like hearing it back and listening to it and like, you know, people have reached out to me about, the different songs and what they like and everything. And yeah, it's still pretty like fresh to me, I guess. I don't feel like I have gotten to that point yet of
Yeah.
like moving on to my next
Yeah. I get it. I
project,
get
you
it.
know?
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. The
Yeah.
one thing I think we probably did touch on too in that initial interview was the uncertainty of the jazz community, because there was a lot of people that had to leave big cities, couldn't afford New York, nothing was going on. There was a
Mhm.
level of retreat. People got into different careers. But now that we're kind of back, and the beauty of me doing this is that it's so good to reconvene with everybody from the pandemic because it was so weird. But to
Mhm.
see everybody's got albums and live shows are happening, what is your bead on the jazz community? How do you feel about it today?
I still think I mean, for what I'm doing, I feel like I'm not even fully part of the jazz community,
Yeah.
because there's still like a formula in a sense as to what's more popular, and what puts butts in the seats, at least to what people think. I've always felt that what I do is like never fit in with the New York community,
Yeah.
because I always just trying to do my own thing, I don't want to be a typical straight ahead jazz singer. I want to put my twist on things. I want to connect with other people besides the jazz community. I want younger people to know the music that I'm putting out. So yeah, I think there's still a lot of like I call it like a formula. Like this is what you have to do. This is how you'll get booked. Blah blah blah. You have to sing a certain way. You have to look a certain way. Yeah, it's all that. So.
So let me ask you this. If you were to come to Kansas City and perform this album and promote it and have people buy this album after the show, how would you promote? What would you say in an advertisement, a Twitter pitch, or some kind of pitch to get people in Kansas City to come to one of our premier venues to watch you perform this?
Yeah, I mean, like I usually like take like a quote from like a press quote or something. But or my the title for the show is like Kristina Koller presents Walk On By Burt Bacharach with a twist.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not, I think that's like Burt Bacharach alone is like
Yeah.
people are like, oh yeah, I love Burt Bacharach.
Totally.
So that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Which is what I've
Absolutely.
learned from doing like these like themes, because even the Cole Porter stuff, like having a themed show
Oh yeah.
actually helps sell tickets
Yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to pick up a copy of the album, is it now in the afterglow of living through this pandemic? Is Bandcamp the best way to do it?
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I would say It's available on iTunes, but I will be eventually making vinyl.
Okay.
I just haven't done it yet. I want to wait a little bit when things are less money,
Yeah.
to say the least. But I won't be making any CDs for this album.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. So if anybody wants to catch you live, any of your previous anything else going on, where do they go?
They go to KristinaKoller.net.
Okay. All right. I will put that in the show notes. Kristina, it's great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out. Best of luck with the tour dates and everything else, and hopefully we'll catch up down the line.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Hey jazz fans, Joe Dimino here, the host of the weekly Neon Jazz radio show and regular interview series being produced and distributed from Lee Summit, Missouri. We are very excited to let you know about the second annual Lee Summit Jazz Festival taking place again this summer on June 28th at the Bridge Space, located at 210 Southwest Market Street in downtown Lee Summit. Following the success of the 2024 festival, the lineup will include Lee Summit students, Casey Area Youth Jazz, Paganova with Michael Pagan, Horoscope with Stan Kessler, Brad Gregory, Adam Larson, and the Lee Summit Jazz Orchestra. There will also be food trucks and vendors to round out a day of celebration. Early bird tickets are 2 for $30, and all details can be found at lsjazzfest.com. We can't wait to see you there.